Hello and welcome back to Thoughts from a Cluttered Mind. There were no comments in my last video, so there shall be no response to any of them in this. So today's topic I decided was going to be upon two big name comic companies, them being Marvel and DC. I myself enjoy Marvel comics, while I live with two people that are more into DC comics. The reasoning behind this is varied, but I personally want to go into why I stand more behind Marvel opposed to why I would stand behind DC. Now, when it comes to Marvel, even when they had the crossover of Marvel and DC, there was a statement that really sums up the reasoning behind why I am more for Marvel, which is when Superman was being talked to about it, he explained that the sun even feels dirtier here. And that is ultimately the reason. The realisticness, the reality, sure, those seems like words, of Marvel opposed to DC. DC, yes, is a great is a great comic company, and they do have fantastic titles and characters. And yes, do not get into the fact that a lot of Marvel characters are ripoffs of DC and vice versa. Ultimately, I'm saying that they have great characters, great storylines, great everything of that nature, but it's less realistic. It's less real. And that is why I like more Marvel. Marvel seems to try and relate to the readers, relate to actual events around the world. And yes, I understand, oh, they have a gods and demons and blah 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 and this and that and this and that and supernatural. Yes, I understand. However, they have more realistic things within it. And also, they tend to actually have finite resolutions. Now, I understand in comics, regardless of the company, once someone is dead, that doesn't mean they're actually always going to be dead. But however, when it comes to Marvel, there is more finite, more end to stories. One of my favorite characters is the Punisher, and as you know, most of his villains do tend to stay dead because he ends things. The stories end. They get resolved. While Batman, he can capture the Joker, throws him in jail, he eventually breaks out and kills 20 more people. Or vice versa, over and over and over again. Well, ultimately, that isn't correcting an issue, and that's an issue that I have with DC, is all of their heroes have the golden rule of not killing, and I agree, being that I am a Marvel person, why am I talking about DC? I don't possibly know the storylines that well. I will give you that, I don't. But ultimately, they all seem to have the golden rule of no killing, while in even the Marvel Universe, pretty much every hero has killed, and there are several heroes that do kill. Captain America fought in wars, killed people. Hawkeye killed the swordsman, his mentor. Let's see. Punisher, need I go in? But anyway, it's more realistic, more finite resolutions, and things of that nature tend to resonate with me more, wherein the issues in the comics aren't, oh, this grandiose supervillain doing this. It's that they all are trying to live a normal life, even the villains. And this ties in very well, I think, with the heroes in the big events, such as Civil War, Age of Apocalypse, all of these events, wherein the events that happen tie in with superheroes and supervillains, wherein all the things that happen tie them together. Opposed to where in DC, it's either all the heroes doing something, or all the villains doing something, or when they do mesh, it's usually that they're confronting one another, or if they do team up, it's usually one spraying the other, or something of that nature, while in there's been instances in Marvel where they are in the same team, and they are for a very long time. The Green Goblin, for instance, he runs an entire group of heroes and villains. The name of the group eludes me right now, but that's not as important right now. So, what I'm trying to get at is that I like Marvel based upon its more realistic appeal. The events that happen, the goings on, the children and lives, and marriage even happening within the Marvel Universe. Everything in it is not about just the heroes and the flash and the explosions, the confrontations and things of that nature. It's life, the events that happening and unfolding and everything around it, like a labyrinth, or quoting Shrek, like an onion. It's complicated. While in DC Comics, Superman fights Lex Luthor, captures him, throws him in jail. He gets out, does something again. yeah, Superman could kill him and therefore the issue would be resolved. But that wouldn't sell many issues, would it? They've even, yes, as I'm mentioning here, they brought Superman back after the big event of him being dead. A big event that happened in Marvel that, as far as I know, they still have not fixed was the Wasp. The first Ant-Man, Hank Pym, had his wife actually was the Wasp. She became infected with something that basically made her a biobomb. Thor had to kill her, and to this day, she's still dead, and arguably one of the deaths that can never be taken back, because after that event, he no longer is Ant-Man and becomes the Yellow Jacket, which is a very similar costume to the Wasp. However, in DC, as I mentioned, Superman's back alive. It was a big event. It had something happen, but they had people try and step in as him, I believe, with the Man of Steel. I'm, again, not familiar with DC, but I'm getting off topic here. Ultimately, I like Marvel, and I can accept DC. I enjoy the characters of it. My favorite of them is actually The Flash. I like the character. He's a good guy, and I like how he does things and how he's always quippy and talkative, and even when he's not in the comics, he's always very interesting to read because, how does it go? He's basically like he's strolling through a forest of slowly moving trees, but they're people, or something to that nature. Again, I've been throwing out quotes here and all that nature, but I don't actually know where they arrive from. Anyway, I like Marvel more than DC. I think the characters are more in-depth with everything that happens to them relating to other heroes and villains and non-heroes or villain alike, with just normal people. I like the environment being that things that happen have a far-reaching effect with the world around you. Excuse me. And the things that happen having a far-reaching effect with things around it, such as the events of World War Hulk, wherein he comes back and he pretty much stops being the Hulk for a while, and they have to rebuild in several of the other comics. New York, you see in the background of them things going on that pertain to that storyline. Everything meshes together. While in DC it seems like a whole bunch of pillars, wherein they may be on the same building, but the stories themselves, yeah, the Justice League, which is the story of them all together, such as the Avengers. However, Luke Cage has stories that intersect with Wolverine, while they are maybe both Avengers at the time, but however, they weren't at that particular moment. It's just far more intricate, far better story, far better characters in my opinion, and yes, even if they ripped off of DC, they are better in my opinion. This is my thoughts. Please comment and share below, and I will gladly read them and come back to you. Thank you so much for watching, and I know this is greatly different than my normal videos that I make, but something a little more light-noted I thought was in order since of my last video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you again, and have a nice day. Bye.